And we're inside of it. This is Western Kabuki coming back at it again. As ever, we are discussing the various ways in which people are lying on the internet. And I am once again joined by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Steve Pretzel, to discuss the fiendish way that people are pretending to be yourself. So, Doctor, what do you have to say about these people?
Well, you know, it's just an unfortunate reality of Elon Musk's Twitter. But I will say we're going to move forward. We're going to do the best that we can. And good evening, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pretzel. And I am, of course, here with Juniper as well. June, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
That's so good to hear. And we are thrilled to be joined with the content connoisseur himself, the streamer, podcaster, tweeter, journalist, Matt Binder. Matthew, good evening.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
No, I can't think of a better week to do this, honestly. I mean, what a fantastic resource of content, really.
Yeah, we saw what was going
futures
on.
are bright.
Yeah, Twitter started popping off with the whole like prioritization of replies and like under posts, and there was so much gold, and we were like, we have to talk about this shit. It's insane. Twitter is just popping off right now.
We try really hard to stay away from time sensitive stuff, but I mean, how do you not talk about this when you have a podcast like ours, you know?
Yeah,
right.
So, Matt, what is like? Because you've written several articles in the past couple of weeks about the absolute insanity that has been the rollout of the new Twitter verification system, in which you can pay either $8 or $11, depending on who's yelling at you. You can pay some amount of money in order to be paid attention to. So how has this affected you? Like, what have you been seeing on the ground floor of the freaks?
Right in the trenches over at Twitter, right?
Exactly right.
It's been great for me. Lots of content. I mean, and that's what's most important. But you know, it's weird because you know, I even before Elon Musk took over Twitter, I was always like, you know, I really built my Twitter. My presence on Twitter over YouTube, which pays its users, over Twitch, which pays its creators, over even Facebook, which pays its creators. I chose the one platform that does not give two shits to pay its creators, but that's just how the cards ended up. I mean, Elon Musk took over and promised a lot of things, and clearly he does not know how to deliver them. I think that he has done everyone a service by running Twitter the way he has, because it really is a mask-off moment for all those people who think that, like, oh, billionaire, successful business owner, they gotta be really smart. I mean, we're seeing the proof right here that the guy does not know what he's doing, and all his ideas are really bad.
Yeah, it's stunning how, like, I feel like the thing with Elon Musk is he's always overpromised and never delivered even close. Like with the what's it called? The Boring Company. That's his like tunnels, his like tunnel highways. That's never delivered. He's lied about pretty much everything he's ever done, and now he's doing it on social media where we get to watch as it happens. So
don't forget,
it's like in front of our faces now.
It was 12 years ago that he said 12 years ago that he can see a scenario where in 10 years we'll be on Mars. I mean, and then when you do bring that up, his fanboys love to go, well, that was like the best case scenario. He also said like it could be 15 years. Well, I'm watching that SpaceX rocket last week go up and explode, and I'm thinking, I don't think we're going to be on Mars in 3 years either.
Ooh, the blue checks rained down on me because of that shit.
That was actually an extremely successful launch.
So I have a fan of my previous podcast of Reply All who is a huge Elon Musk reply guy who has 2.5 million followers. So
Oh God.
I made a response to the exploding, the quote unquote successful launch, and just quote tweeted something that said it was a successful launch. And I said, doesn't seem that successful to me. And he responded to it angrily, even though he's a fan of my old show. He's like, well, I'm a heterodox thinker and I can handle people who have different ideas than me or whatever. So he responded to it and I got fucking inundated, just inundated with freaks. People being like, how many rockets have you sent into space? Don't you understand that it was meant to do this? Blah, 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 blah. And then like immediately after it was like, his entire space program has been grounded, and we have to do all kinds of EPA impact reports because debris and toxins have been spreading throughout the launch area.
It's really amazing to see it because there's this like copy pasta that goes around, and I think it sort of wraps up like the Elon Musk mindset for a lot of people, and I've seen it among like software developers and application like app programmers, where it's something like it's one of those corny copy and paste, but it actually does fit exactly that sort of scenario where it's like everyone told me he was a genius, but I don't know anything about building electric vehicles, so I was just like, okay, I guess I believe you. Then everyone told me he was a genius, but I don't know anything about building rocket ships, so I guess I believe you. But then he started getting involved in a social media platform, and I actually know code, and I could tell you this guy is a huge fucking idiot. It's like it's I think that is like, it's sort of corny, but I think that really does sort of explain the areas he was in before, and even for like the employees of these companies too. Like if you're a electric car maker, like that's your science, you know how to do that stuff. If you're you went to school for space stuff and you dream of building rocket ships, there's not like many options in those industries. Tesla and SpaceX are pretty much the big ones in each industry. But when it comes to Twitter, those employees have a lot of options for other companies that will treat them a lot better and pay them a lot better too. Or they could also just go off and do their own thing. Like a lot harder to start your own EV company or rocket ship company, but you could definitely start your own little stupid app.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then especially, I imagine people are way more open to going elsewhere after you fire like 90% of the people that used to work for Twitter in like a very unceremonious, evil way. So yeah, I was going to say he's created a very like hostile work environment where like the tech bro like archetype is the only type of person remaining.
Also, people who are stuck on worker visas who literally can't leave. Yeah, that's actually a major.
I always think about is the people who actually can't leave Twitter because they have work visas and are basically hostages to this guy who's like, well, Twitter 2.0 means you have to work 18 hours a day.
Yeah, I think that Elon has been the greatest victim of the Dunning-Kruger effect the world has ever seen, that he knows so little about so little that he thinks it's somehow a strength of his.
Yeah. I mean, I think he wants to be, and this is something that I think a lot of people have pointed out. Like he wants to be a poster so bad. Like he really wishes he was a poster. And there's many different types of posters you can be. Apparently he's just not good at any of them, and so he bought this platform, and that's not one of the reasons in all the plethora of evidence that we have where he stated his various reasons, but I think that is partially it too, that he bought it. And who wouldn't love the owner of the platform, right? I mean, everyone loved the Jack Dorsey.
Everyone is a huge fan of Jack.
Speaking of which, find us all on BlueSky or however.
Yeah, we're having fun on there.
It's the first fun day I've had on social media in years.
It was fun. It has been fun
so far.
I've reposted a bunch of my old viral tweets. It's been a good time. But I feel like Elon thought that Twitter was something entirely different than it was. And I think he was sort of a victim of having like millions and millions of followers and just like the algorithm being so kind to him that all of his sycophants will get kicked to the top and he'll think that's all of Twitter. And he made such a massive error in judgment that I like literally can't believe that anyone still rides for him. But the really like the really grim part about it is that there are so many people who still ride for him and it's not good enough. He's not happy with it. He doesn't. There are all these people who are like, Elon, you are the coolest. We love you, sir. Thank you. And then normal people are like, those guys are fucking dorks. And Elon is like, fuck. They are dorks.
And now that's all we see in his replies is hordes and hordes of the biggest
He's
annoying
punishing
dorks.
us for not liking him enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think he actually has like Facebook grandma mindset. He without a doubt got radicalized during COVID. It's very clear. Like before that, he definitely had shitty politics, obviously, but he had the regular, normal, shitty politics that every one of these billionaire tech people have. But it's clear that he got further and further towards the right over the past couple of years, and he's living in a bubble. Like, and you know the when he tried to back out from buying Twitter, and Twitter took sued him and was going to take him to court. As part of that case, they had to release text messages, private personal text messages from Elon Musk's phone that were about the purchase of Twitter. And in those text messages, one of the main conversations that really stuck out to me was a conversation with one of his ex-wives, actress Tallulah Riley. I think she's best known for, she was in that HBO show Westworld, and she is apparently a right-winger too. And she was really upset that Babylon Bee got suspended from Twitter. And she at one point outright texts Elon, can you do something about this? Can you just buy Twitter? And that's one of the earliest conversations on Elon Musk's personal private phone regarding the possibility of buying Twitter. Like, that's without a doubt one of the things that sparked it. Just to give you an example of how ridiculous this whole thing is.
His ex-wife was the first person to say, Elon, do something. Elon, please. But no, that's great. I forgot about that. I remember that when that came out at the time. It's been so long. I feel like that's been like a year ago at this point. But you're totally right.
I think those texts were actually a year ago now, because a year ago this week is when he actually makes that offer to Twitter, when he actually wanted it the first time.
Oh my God, we've been on this ride for so long at this point. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And that bubble he's in, that right-wing bubble that he's in, I think that speaks to what happened this week with the verification badges. Like, he, just like all those people who are buying the blue check marks for $8, like they really think that those verification badges did something. Like, they think they were an elite status, like doled out by Twitter, by who knows, I don't know, like King Arthur's court, and as these things were being doled out, that gave each of these users a power. Like, Beyonce would not have become the superstar she is if she wasn't given a blue check by Twitter. Like, they really have to believe that, because if you look at them now, they're whining about how they're not getting the likes and retweets they thought they would with the blue check. I mean, that tells you a lot about what they thought they would get from that.
Yeah, I saw multiple people, like multiple of these like Twitter blue Elon stan people accuse what's his name, Stephen King, of like clout chasing by claiming he didn't pay for the blue check that Elon gave him. It's like, what do you mean clout chasing? He would be totally fine without Twitter. Like, you're right. These people just fundamentally misunderstand what the old system was for. And I feel like I'm in like a bizarro world where they still just don't get it. They still to this day right now they still just don't understand the difference between what it was and what it is now, and it boggles my mind.
The thing I find so dark about that is that any one of us could just buy a blue check and receive a serious level of respect and understanding from the absolute worst people alive. They would immediately just want to be our friends. And that's kind of disconcerting that Matt, you still have one though, don't you?
I do. I was gifted mine by Elon Musk personally. It's it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
I can't believe that. Yeah, do you kind of want to explain?
Do you have more than 1 million followers?
That.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess let's let's
I would
rewind.
like to hear.
So because I saw this happen, it was amazing.
It was very funny.
So Thursday Thursday 420. Elon Musk loves the oldest, dumbest online jokes there are. He decided that was the new date that Twitter would remove those legacy verified check marks from all the people who got the check mark for free under the old Twitter. He originally, it's been clear he hates those check marks since he bought the platform. He gave an official date of April 1st, but he didn't deliver then. And then on 420, he actually did a pretty rare thing for him, and he delivered. He removed those check marks, and there were a few celebrities who whined about losing them. Like there were a lot of celebrities who like said something about it, but it was just like, goodbye, blue check. Some people like, George Costanza from Seinfeld was like, without the check mark, I don't want people to impersonate me and scam my followers, which is actually the reason why Twitter rolled that out back in 2009. And so, people like with that mindset, like Jason Alexander, actually said they were leaving the platform altogether. But like people like William Shatner were complaining that they wanted it or whatever. And then after he removed them all, people noticed that 3 people who were quite clear that they weren't going to pay for it still had the check mark. And that was LeBron James, William Shatner, and Stephen King. Now, Shatner, the night before, thanked Elon Musk for some random thing. William Shatner clearly has bad politics. So he probably actually had a phone call with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk said he'd pay for it. And I bet Shatner was actually very appreciative and accepted it.
Just to interrupt for 1 second, one of the few huge celebrities I am blocked by, I have no idea why, William Shatner.
Okay, and just to put some respect on Captain James Tiberius's Kirk's name. I don't want to, he has his own ways. He can do what he wants. Also, he's like 92, so we can't take him too take
He also has the best take of all the people I've heard from who've traveled to space. Actually, his take on it is actually it's a slap in the face to what Elon Musk wants to do. And Jeff Bezos, who actually took him on the trip. It was amazing. Like Shatner comes back down and the press is asking him like, oh, how do you feel? And they were expecting like, oh, the vastness of space was so beautiful and made me excited for the journey that mankind's about to go on or some bullshit like that. But instead he was like, it actually made me really depressed because I saw nothing out there. And then I looked below me and saw beautiful Earth. And I thought everything we need is right down there. And like that's exactly the and then Jeff Bezos actually then pops champagne to like cut him off and like celebrate their rocket adventure or whatever. But
he's been like that in every interview since too. They will just be like, what do you think about this new Twitter blue check thing? And he'll be like, we have destroyed the only thing we ever had. And we have to deal with the guilt for generations to come.
Yeah, he was very clearly moved. It was a very moving speech that he gave, and it clearly changed something in his head, which I thought it was what he said was beautiful, honestly.
Then you have Jeff Bezos back on Earth wearing a cowboy hat for some reason, popping bottles, and it's like, oh god.
Right.
Just the worst annoying people.
Right. So Shatner gets that check, and it seems like he wanted it, but that's whatever. But Stephen King and LeBron James were actually adamant about not wanting it. Like if you'll recall, Stephen King very early on when it was like this was like last November in November 2022, yeah. When Musk was like, we're gonna get rid of the old verification system, and start a subscription-based verification system. And Musk threw out the number of $20 per month. And Stephen King was like, this is stupid. I'm not paying for it. And Musk was like, went into his mentions, was like, how about 8? Like haggling with Stephen King. And I
totally forgot that is where the $8 figure came from, was a back and forth with Stephen King.
Right, and if you actually take the long game version of that story, Elon Musk, the ultimate deal maker, actually ended up getting haggled down to -8, being that he's paying for Stephen King's check mark.
Oh my God, he's a King deal maker. Oh my Lord, that is so.
It just
funny.
reminds me of Trump's Truth Social post about Elon begging like a dog.
Yes,
right.
He was on his knees.
Yeah, like a dog.
I could get him on my knees. That was such an amazing Trump post.
Right. I
Those
forgot
are the two
about
kinds
that
of deal
one.
guys.
Yeah, but I got, Trump actually is a pretty good deal maker if you consider all the billions he probably extorted from the government when he was president, just siphoning money to his hotels. Like, oh, the Secret Service, we're just going to spend every day at my hotel, and we're going to give the Secret Service the presidential suite and charge them for that.
He got his bag. He got his bag as president. You gotta respect it. Yeah.
He absolutely did the thing that he set out to do.
That was awful.
We should keep that part in. That was pretty
That was terrible.
Alex.
I hated that so much.
Alex, keep that in. Keep that one in.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Keep going.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
So then we get to LeBron James, who, like, that was the biggest one. Like, Stephen King, and he's obviously huge, but he's on social media. It's not that crazy getting, to think that Elon Musk would reach out to him. But LeBron James was like quite adamant. He put out a tweet that was like, I'm not paying nothing for a check mark. And then all these like sports writers came out and were like, no, LeBron's actually notoriously stingy when it comes to paying for like premium services. Someone brought up a story where like they were in the locker room interviewing or whatever, and LeBron James had his like Pandora radio on, and all the ads were playing because he refused to sign up for Pandora's like $5 premium ad-free service.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
He really is King James.
Absolutely.
True proletariat.
And so I forgot which reporter, but someone ended up getting in touch with him or his management or someone close to LeBron James. And they were like, Elon Musk reached out to LeBron and offered to give him a complimentary Twitter Blue subscription. And LeBron turned it down. And so Elon Musk still just threw the check mark on him. And I should note too that like when you see the coverage of this, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I want to put this here because it's specific to like someone as big as LeBron. A lot of these articles that have come out are like, oh, all these people got their blue check back from Elon Musk, but that's actually not true. Because this might not seem like such a big, difference, but for a celebrity, it probably is. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a lawsuit that comes out of this. But they did not get their old check mark back, because the old check mark specifically said when you clicked it that this was a legacy verified account. The new check mark they have actually says this user is subscribed to Twitter Blue and verified their phone number with us, which obviously none of these celebrities who got it have. But like, it looks like by, that it's saying that on their account, it looks like they're endorsing the service by paying for it, which they are not.
Which
so
could be illegal.
Yeah, like a brand protection type of problem, right? That like maybe the estate of Anthony Bourdain didn't want him to purchase Elon Musk's check mark. Right.
Exactly that. Like, it looks like these celebrities enjoy a service and are paying for it. And in Anthony Bourdain's case, from Beyond the Grave. But yeah, so he does that on Thursday. And then on Friday, I published a piece in Mashable about the Block the Blue campaign. Now, I don't know exactly who the first person to post that hashtag was, but certainly the biggest person who posted that hashtag was Drill.
Oh yeah, that's when I first saw it. That's when I first it came on my radar too. Yeah,
and he had tweeted it out how everyone should, hashtag Block the Blue back in November when Elon Musk first, was talking about the idea of charging for it. And I emailed Drill a couple of weeks ago and asked him, and he got back to me like a week or two later with answers to all my questions. And the piece published with comments from Drill, and he gave me some great ones. And I spoke to other like prominent, Twitter users like the band Eve 6, and the piece sort of just took off. It went viral. The hashtag Block the Blue started trending, and Drill hadn't tweeted it out since November too. By Saturday morning, it was on the trending topics list of Twitter. And I think it even had its own, like on that website, like Know Your Meme, that like Wikipedia for memes. It had its own entry by that point. And I noticed that Elon Musk started liking tweets from other big users who are fans of his that were criticizing Block the Blue. One tweet was from Robert Scoble, this like old school like tech evangelist guy who most people probably know him as the guy who single-handedly killed Google Glass by turning it into the nerdiest thing on the planet when he took a selfie of himself wearing it while taking a shower.
Oh my God, I forgot about that shit. That's the same dude. I remember that. Oh my God. There was someone in my high school that had a Google Glass, and he got made fun of so much he stopped wearing it after a week. Like everyone hated it.
If you're too young to remember this,
when you had
if you're too young to remember this, they were like $3,000. So the fact that somebody would stop wearing it is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he had this in high school, $3,000 piece of technology. After a week, he was done.
And then another tweet that Musk liked that was specifically talking about Block the Blue, and this one was my favorite. It was from Tim Sweeney, the CEO and founder of Epic Games, the company that makes Fortnite. And this is the most fantastic tweet ever, and especially is great when you recall here that Elon Musk liked this tweet. Like, he endorsed this tweet. And Tim Sweeney tweets out, "People in this hashtag Block the Blue pressure campaign are losers and goons. They're the cool kids from junior high who work to exclude we nerds from the cool kid events." Basically saying that the people who are paying for the blue check are the people who got stuffed in the lockers, and us, the ones who were against that stuff, are the ones that are the cool kids in high school who are doing the stuffing.
When it comes to like Tim Sweeney, I don't like. You have a net worth of close to $10 billion by making a shittier version of Steam. Like, what do you want? What do you like? What is it? What are you actually complaining about? You're like, what level of power do you not have?
So this is the thing is that I'm seeing with these people is it's just a very deep level of like grievance of like, we never got something, or this type of person doesn't like us. And it's really pathetic because like, what, nerds didn't get their respect in middle school? If you were born in this century,
these guys are both in their 50s, by the way.
You're an adult. If you were born in this century, you're an adult, and you should be over middle school for a lot of those people. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're 20 years old, you should be over middle school. However the fuck old that guy is, it's fucking ridiculous. And like, there's no shoving into lockers in schools now. This is like a conception that you only know about from like The Simpsons. And
to say nothing of the fact that 90% of the people with blue checks are just fucking journalists. Like, they're the dorks who got shoved into lockers in high school. They're not doing any bullying. They're making fun of you because you're an herb.
Right. No, exactly. And maybe being that looking at the people who are buying these blue checks, Maybe we do need to bring back the locker stuffings, and maybe that's not good. Yeah.
And I mean that's why there's been so many like insane takes, I feel like, in the last week. Like the insane posts and replies per second that we've discovered in the last week has just skyrocketed, because these people are just not adjusted. They're not normal. These are people that needed to be stuffed in lockers that didn't. They never did, and they needed to be. They're just weirdos. I don't know. It's been fun, but the exposure, the overexposure to like insane people is so much. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody, everybody who came out of school in the 90s and early 2000s, they were like, Dare was a terrible program and it was really stupid, but the anti-bullying stuff was good. And now we're learning that we should have kept the bullying too. It was all a big misstep from the federal government.
Dare was just a failure of a program. Yeah.
So on Saturday now, we're back to Saturday now.
Yes.
Where am I? Where was I? Okay, so back to Saturday. Musk likes those tweets, and then all of a sudden, and the block the blue stuff is really going now. Obviously, when you got the Musk sycophants, the biggest Musk sycophants talking about it, and Elon Musk himself liking the tweets, then it's only like for like the Streisand effect. It's only getting larger, and more people are tweeting about it. It went from like a few tweets every minute to like one of those crazy like things where you click the trend and it's like every couple of seconds, like the feed just refreshes and like 20 new tweets are there. And Elon Musk tweets out checkmate, just randomly, no context, 2 separate words, checkmate. And so I saw this and I'm like, okay, he's planning some stupid shit. Who knows what. And then someone had asked me earlier too, like, what if he was to actually give you a check mark, like to own you? And I was like, he would never do that, because then I'd actually have to hand it to him, because that'd be pretty funny. And lo and behold, like no more than maybe like 30-40 minutes later, I see, and I was like at my, I haven't told anyone this yet. I was at my kid's soccer game, and it was his first game of the season. And he's just 7 years old, and he's really excited. And my phone's buzzing, and so I look at it, and it's right before the game starts. And I see all these tweets where it's like, oh my God, you guys, he did it to you. And then I see like the Drill tweets come in, because Drill, I guess, was aware too. He did the same thing to Drill. And as far as I know, at that moment, it was just me and Drill that got that check mark. Mm-hmm. Because I think that was his joke, that he was going to put it on Drill and I to sort of, I guess, either stop block the blue, or if he couldn't stop it, Drill and I would get hit by friendly fire, because a lot of people weren't just like manually going through and clicking it. People had created like Chrome extensions where basically you install this Chrome extension, you activate it on your Chrome web browser, and when you would just scroll through a tweet's comment section, and there would be blue checkmark replies, it would automatically start blocking them. So if you just went to if you went to like an Elon Musk tweet where you'll see like 1,000 blue checkmark replies, you could just scroll through, and the Chrome extension in like 5 seconds would block 1,000 blue check subscribed users. And so I guess he thought either it would stop it, or we would get hit by that and get blocked by a bunch of people. Drill then started doing this thing where if you're a Twitter Blue subscriber and you change your username, they temporarily take away the blue check until they can confirm your new username, like your new profile name, I should say. Like he didn't change his ad handle, just like the where you put your name. And they actually rolled that out back in November. After November,
Eli Lilly thing, right?
Yes, the Eli Lilly thing, where anyone back in November when this first launched, it was like truly the wild west.
That was an amazing time too. That November day when he introduced it, so good.
Right, basically anyone could pay $8 for any single account, no like oversight or overview, and you automatically got the blue check, regardless of whether you were a parody account or whatever. And everyone had a lot of fun with that. And so they instituted this thing where basically they don't give you the blue check if you change your name. That way they could just confirm you weren't doing something like that. But I should also say that they don't confirm it at first either. You just have to have an account that's older than like I think 30 or 60 days. So there were like some open neo-Nazis and like white supremacists. Some of them even had like racial slurs like the N-word just like right in their @ handle that were getting Twitter verified and then openly like tweeting out like, whoa, I can't believe me, an open neo-Nazi that's got swastikas and Hitler paraphernalia all over my profile page just got verified. This is great. And so, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking of doing over there. But so Jill kept changing his username and they kept manually putting the blue check back on until I guess the guy or girl who Musk had doing this had to go home for the day. And now Drill's profile is just stuck in limbo where it doesn't have the blue check, but he can't change his profile. So that was one thing that Drill did. That was very funny. For me, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it for a few days and have fun with it. Because my first idea was to antagonize the biggest right-wing accounts who constantly complain to Elon about how they're not getting their money's worth. Like the first thing I did was I replied to Cat Turd, and I was because Cat Turd was like, oh man, all these celebrities are complaining about the loss of their blue check, and all I needed to do was pay $8 for this. And I was like, oh really? Musk is charging you $8? I got mine for $0. I'm not even a celebrity. And like, that shit bothers them.
Of course,
that absolutely
of all people on the
them.
internet, Cat Turd was absolutely incensed by that. But I think it's probably also important to clarify for our listeners who don't know. You, Matt, have had run-ins with Elon in the past, so I think it was like a very direct choice for him to gift you one specifically.
Yes, absolutely. Back in December, when those the 7 journalists who were reporting on the Elon jet tracker got suspended, and that was a whole big thing. I was one of them, and then I'm also the one who was responsible for later that day, Twitter Spaces going down for 24 hours because I discovered a loophole.
Space,
that allowed my suspended account to join the Twitter Space, and they proceeded to shut down Twitter Spaces for a day so they could close that loophole. So he definitely, I assumed he was aware of who I was.
Oh, he knows. He hates your guts. How does that feel, knowing that man hates you because of that specifically? That's got to feel pretty good, right?
It's without a doubt like a feather in the cap. No doubt about it. Like,
it's a big accomplishment. Yeah. That's huge.
Like if there was one person who, and I'm not even say this about Elon Musk specifically, just the fact that he is a billionaire and the richest, if not the richest, the second richest, changes depending on how much he fucks things up this week. But it's someone who's very rich, and as Katie Nadopoulos from BuzzFeed put it, apparently I own a palatial estate in his head. I mean, it is fantastic.
You really did. You haunted him in that space. I didn't get to see it live. I watched a recording of it, of him realizing you were there in that space, having suspended you for the assassination coordinates or whatever that whole bullshit thing was. We talked about this, fans of the show will remember, a little bit on the Taylor Lorenz episode. She kind of ran that down. This was what she was talking about specifically.
Right. She had got her account suspended too, because, and not even for the Elon jet tracker stuff, that the day after, or like 2 days after I got suspended, they rolled out that really insane policy where if you tweeted out links to your other social media profiles, you would get suspended. And she had like posted a tweet just filled with all of her different social media handles, and she got temporarily suspended too for that. I mean, every move from this guy just shows he's got no idea what he's doing. And I mean, so after he puts the check mark on Drill and I, and people have asked me like, how are you sure that he, knowingly did it just to you and Drill purposefully? And it's because there's this Twitter daily news account that's like just like a Twitter like news profile page that on Twitter that just like is run by like an Elon fanboy that tweets out Twitter news.
Yeah,
it's called like Titter Daily or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was like an official account at first, and then I started like looking into the replies, and like Elon would start replying to it, and it's like, oh, it's just like a sycophant. I thought it was like an official thing, but
no,
nope.
that's just someone who pays $1,000 a month to be Elon Musk's friend.
Yeah.
And it's not official because you can't create a username on Twitter. And this is even from before Musk. And it's a sensible thing for a social media platform like the company to do. If you're creating a username, you actually can't put the word Twitter in your handle. They've reserved that only for official accounts.
Oh.
So this Musk fan wanted to create like a Twitter news account, and he had to use the word Titter instead of Twitter because he's not allowed to.
Amazing. And then after that, or I don't know if it was after that, but then Elon changed the like headquarters to Titter as well recently. Just incredible 2000s, early 2000s humor. Just awesome stuff.
Right. And then the landlord actually told him that it's part of the lease. He's not allowed to do that. And he had to like change it back or something. But so that account basically tweeted out that day's Twitter news, which was me and Drill getting the blue check mark. And so he screenshotted just Drill with the check mark and me with the check mark. And Elon Musk and the tweet was like something like Elon trolls the most prominent campaigners for hashtag block the blue. And Elon then replies something like, a troll me? Like basically confirming that like, hell yeah, I hit them with that shit. And then I gotta say, in my opinion, it's the first, just me and Drill. The other stuff is not as funny with the other celebrities, but just putting it on me and Drill, definitely the first funny thing he's ever done. I would be surprised if he has a second funny thing left in him, but he at least has that first.
Matt, he focused that group. He focus grouped that joke for like 2 weeks before he launched, waiting for that exact moment, and spent like $100,000 doing it. But he got one funny joke.
Right.
And you do have to hand it to him. It was genuinely pretty funny. Like watching the whole like Drill ordeal, like change his name and then get a new check like every couple of minutes, and then him antagonizing it was a wonderful time. It was a really funny time.
Right, because people should know, like, without a doubt, like Drill, obviously, first of all, me having quotes from Drill that was not previously published, and him being so prominent in this campaign, like it was like a huge like crossover of worlds that you would have never imagined previously, like Weird Twitter, which is this fairly small, like it's really obviously a big thing on Twitter, but outside Twitter, no one knows what the hell that is. This like specific funny account subculture on Twitter, like actually doing this weird internet battle with Elon Musk of all people, like that is fucking hilarious. And so so Elon did that. And then maybe like within like 20, 30 minutes, other people started getting their blue check marks. I think the first person I saw after Drill and myself was Hassan. He got a blue check mark. And then one by one, they started to pop up. And I think now that the deal basically is that almost every account that has more than 1 million followers has a complimentary Twitter Blue subscription complete with the blue check mark. Now, there are some caveats where he clearly specified he didn't want certain people to get it. For example, Jack Dorsey, the former owner and the former co-founder and CEO of Twitter, he did not receive a blue check mark.
Imagine he's the only one who is still mad at Jack Dorsey. I have promised so many different times that we would be nice if you came back, Jack.
Why is he mad at Jack Dorsey?
Now, here's the weird thing. Like, he has been really defensive of Jack Dorsey for a while. Like when Matt Taibbi dropped those first Twitter files and accidentally doxed Jack Dorsey's email address, which actually uses the .pizza domain name, which then in turn created this scenario where all these weirdo freak conspiracy theorists started harassing Jack Dorsey, saying he's a child molester because he uses a pizza-related email address because of the whole Pizzagate thing.
If you don't know that reference, don't Google it. You don't need that information.
If you don't know that reference, stop listening to this podcast. How fucking old are you? You're like 16? What else are you doing?
Yeah, how do you not know about QAnon?
If you don't know about QAnon and you're listening to this podcast, it's because I have revealed face and you know my name and you're a former student of mine and you want to hear what I'm talking about. And frankly, you should go to bed.
We'll cover QAnon someday, I'm sure. It'll come back. It's going to make a comeback.
But I didn't realize they had beef. Like, what's the problem?
So I think the beef now is that Jack Dorsey, after saying back in April or March of last year that Elon Musk is the perfect person to take over Twitter, I think he's regretting those words because he is promoting a few different alternatives to Twitter. He's part of this like weird like blockchain based decentralized social network called like Nostr or something like that no regular person is going to use. It's for the blockchain weirdos. But then he also is heavily involved with the social media platform that you guys just mentioned earlier. What was it? BlueSky.
BlueSky, yep.
Right. So that's like his baby. So I think we all know how Musk feels about the alternatives, right? He blocked Mastodon.
The
when
Substack
that
one
whole
too.
thing happened.
And
then Substack, right?
There was that whole drama with Matt Taibbi with what was it, Substack Notes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he unfollowed Matt Taibbi.
Matt Taibbi's completely severed. Matt Taibbi moved over to what's it called? Truth Social. He's not posting on Twitter anymore. Like he's completely severed his relationship.
I forgot he went to Truth Social.
He's completely severed his relationship with Twitter.
What do you guys think about Truth Social? Because I've been singing its praises. I think it's the best Twitter clone out there, in my opinion.
In terms of features or in terms of freaks?
Freaks for
but
sure.
I would actually say both. And now that Twitter's ads are also insane dog shit, basically Truth Social is better than Twitter at this point, in my opinion.
I've really enjoyed, because I've spent time posting on there. I've really enjoyed using Truth Social, especially as like an alternative persona of mine, where I'm like a right-wing weirdo. So I've posted like a lot of like insane shit on there that I have a lot of fun with. But I have to say, I think I've had more fun with BlueSky today than I've ever had with Truth Social.
BlueSky has been great. I don't like the ats on BlueSky. The fact that it's your name plus like it's at, for me it's like at whacknicholson.bsky.
Yeah, that's a little.
You can do a custom domain. We might do. I was thinking about maybe doing like a Western Kabuki vanity domain thing.
Also, you realize the reason that it's fun right now is because there's like tens of thousands of people. Not that many people.
Not
and
millions,
it's going to become, as soon as the shitheads show up.
As soon as the brands are there, it's over. But we're going to fight that fight when it happens.
Yeah,
now
it's gonna
you
be a new
say
frontier.
that, but I would really love to see a new brand enter the fold. I feel like we've heard from Wendy's. I feel like we've heard from Slim Jin's, Corn Nuts. I would Steakums. I would really like to hear from. I would really like to hear from like Snap-on Tools. I would really like to hear from Alaska Airlines. I would really like to hear from some really niche companies that are very important to a certain subsection of the population. I feel like that was the case with Corn Nuts and Old Black Guys, and now I want it to be like a thing for like like Cessna. I hope that the company Cessna.
Or like Makita drill heads out there.
Yeah.
I'll send out some invites. I'll spread some invites out there.
I want
Ryobi
Tools to threaten a terrorist attack on Makita. That's what I want.
We can make it happen.
I did have a question for you, Matt, which is that not long after all of this went down, I briefly went into, but could not stick around, in a Twitter space you went into where like a bunch of, like Ian Miles Chong and a bunch of other recognizable goons were trying to call you out for Block the Blue and for making fun of, people spending $8. I was curious how that went down.
Right. It's weird because, it's this Twitter space guy. It's like this like crypto guy who's become known on Twitter for just running these really long daily Twitter spaces that all these rando like LinkedIn types and right-wing Twitter influencers go on.
The All In podcast, they always make an appearance.
Right. But the weird thing is they don't act how they do in their tweets. Like they drop their whole persona almost. Like there's a few of them who continue on, but like Ian Miles Chong drops the whole like, if you read his tweets about the times me and him have gone at it, you would think the guy is thinks I'm the worst person in the world or a groomer or something. And then in that chat, he's like, someone asked me if I was going to like take legal action or something. And I was like, about the Twitter Blue thing. And my opinion on that is I'm not going to, because I think it'll be much more interesting for literally any other celebrity who, any one of those celebrities, I should say, because I'm not a celebrity, any one of those other people who got it, who are celebrities. It would be way more interesting for them to go after Musk, because their damages will probably be a lot more than whatever I could argue my damages are. I mean, I bet they could argue that this whole thing, it was actually good for me. And you know what? They would be right.
I would love to see a class action lawsuit that is just like LeBron James, Stephen King, and Drill sitting in a courtroom. And I know he's like come out and he's like saying his name and stuff now, but it would be very funny if he still showed up with his like the Jack Nicholson mask and just like sat next to like Serena Williams and all these people.
Right.
I don't want to know what Drill looks like or his name. That's like
it's none of my business.
It's exactly none of my business.
No, he did it. He did.
No, I know he did.
Still
I know
none
he
of my
did.
Business.
But it's none of my business. Yeah.
Wow,
exactly.
guys.
I don't want to know.
Wow.
Do you remember that part in Spider-Man 2 where Spider-Man's
He's a
mask
hero.
comes off and everybody just agrees to quietly put it back on and never mention it again? That's you guys right now.
That's true.
Right.
But it's different because that happened like 10 years ago. He got doxxed on Tumblr and people did that. And now he's like, hey, what's up? I'm doing an interview. And you guys
Alex, will you
like,
bleep that?
no.
Yeah, I'm going to. I will.
We're not meant to know
It's like,
certain things. We're not.
Right.
It's no. I already
Right.
forgot what you said.
This is forbidden knowledge, like Prometheus with fire. We don't need that information.
So in that Twitter space, Ian Miles Chong. So we were talking about if I was going to do anything, and I was just like, no one's seeing Matt Binder with a check mark and being like, oh, this has been endorsed by Matt, I'm gonna buy it. And so Ian Miles Chong out of nowhere is like, you would be surprised, Matt. I think you're way more influential than some of these other celebrities on Twitter. And I'm like, this is coming from this guy? Like, what a weird thing is going on in this Twitter space. So anyway, like, I think that the takeaway for that space is they probably thought before that conversation that this was like a political statement. And I'm sure for some people it is. Like, in the back of your mind, I'm sure none of us want to give $8 to Elon Musk when he's doing his whole big right-wing, aside from being a billionaire, his whole right-wing turn, shitting on trans people, especially going after trans kids, like just openly on his Twitter account. Like, every billionaire is an a-hole. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they're all bad. Mm-hmm. But there are still these horrible companies that just because we live in a society, we do buy their products and services. But I do think Musk has taken it to a slightly higher, worse level that these other guys have not crossed over into, at least yet.
It's the Twitter file.
Hey, this is Alex. Thank you so much for listening to this free episode of Western Kabuki. There is another entire hour of conversation with Matt Binder on our Patreon, patreon.com/Western Kabuki. He gets into some real wild stuff, including the time he visited Tim Pool's compound. You should check it out. You can also follow Matt Binder at twitter.com/Matt Binder or patreon.com/Matt Binder. All right, hope to see you on the Patreon. Thanks so much.